Did you see the Oprah interview?
No.
She's off the rails.
Yeah,
Off the rails.
I heard about it.
Into fucking wine mom country again.
Wow.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that.
Tim Dillon is the best. Tim Dillon's like, she's saying gypsy curses. What is she saying?
Shortly after the Oscars, a 3.9 magnitude earthquake rocked L.A. The tremors were so powerful, Oprah's ass is still moving. Why would you laugh at that? That's fat shamers.
It's nice to see somebody. No, it humanizes her. She is such a figure of perfection.
Women should learn. Those fucking shiny bottom shoes, them bitches are useless. You can't wear those things. They're so slippery. Those really expensive shoes that the gals like that always have the shiny bottoms.
Yeah.
Here she is walking, and I believe she's talking about balance, which is LOL.
The irony is staggering.
So, flat ground.
Doesn't mean all things are equal or at peace at all times.
Oh, she bites the dust. Let's see how she recovers.
She says new shoes.
Oh, those rude fucks. They edit it so she hits the ground over and over again. Well, you know what? I gotta say, I like how she framed with her elbow and then did a roll. Right. She absorbed a lot of energy in a roll.
Good technique, Ope.
Not bad.
What is the true legacy of Oprah Winfrey? Beyond the staggering, almost incomprehensible wealth, beyond the global fame and the first-name-only recognition, what is the lasting mark she has left on our culture? For 40 years, she has been a towering figure in the American landscape, a media titan who evolved from a talk show host into something far more powerful, a secular priestess, a political kingmaker, and the most trusted woman in the world. But as the era of her undisputed dominance begins to wane, a new and more critical conversation about her impact is emerging. This is not another simple biography, nor is it a takedown. This is a cultural autopsy. We will dissect the Oprah effect, the profound, complex, and often deeply controversial ways she has reshaped the American mind. We will explore how she fundamentally altered the way we think about therapy, spirituality, health, consumerism, and the very nature of truth itself.
She's a wonderful woman. I think she's a powerful force of good and positive energy.
But she ain't no Elon.
But she also brought us Dr. Oz and The Secret. We have to remember what this lady has done.
She has to be held accountable.
I forgive her, but I mean, cut the shit. The Secret is a particularly egregious offense.
What, you don't believe?
You don't believe?
Oh,
believe?
I want to be rich. I am rich.
I imagine myself flying. I can fly. I will beat my wings until I take off.
To understand Oprah's monumental impact, we must begin where she began her revolution, on television. In the 1980s and 90s, the daytime talk show landscape was a chaotic and often brutal arena. It was the era of Geraldo Rivera's broken nose, of Morton Downey Jr.'s chain-smoking rage, and of Jerry Springer's onstage brawls. Talk shows were a blood sport, a place where human dysfunction was paraded for public ridicule. Oprah Winfrey entered this arena and chose a radically different path. She rejected confrontation in favor of compassion. She replaced ridicule with a kind of therapeutic empathy. She effectively transformed her television studio from a boxing ring into the nation's living room, and her couch became the most famous therapy session in the world.
Right, which appears to be what Oprah's doing for Maui. It seems like she and The Rock just did that one video, and really, the people of Maui, they got screwed.
I anticipate a letter to the show saying, The Rock donated $20 trillion to the fund, and then you're going to have to apologize.
Oh, I will say I'm sorry immediately. It's like this thing in Maui happened, and then
still talking about Maui.
I am, because everyone just quickly moved on.
No, that's a good point, too. That is a good point. It is a story that kind of just faded.
So basically what you're hoping is at least she would have left them the pizza oven.
Yeah.
Right?
Ashley, say.
This was a revolutionary act. Oprah pioneered and perfected the art of the public confessional. She created a safe space where celebrities could come and weep about their struggles, and where ordinary people could share their deepest traumas without fear of judgment. She taught an entire generation of Americans, particularly women, a new language of emotional vulnerability. Phrases like speaking your truth, living your best life, and finding your aha moment entered the national lexicon directly from her stage. She normalized therapy, she destigmatized talking about abuse and addiction, and she made emotional introspection a mainstream activity. This was, in many ways, a profoundly positive development. However, this confessional culture she architected also had a powerful and perhaps unforeseen side effect. By turning private pain into public spectacle, no matter how empathetically it was framed, she paved the way for the reality television and social media culture we live in today. A culture that often rewards the most dramatic public performance of emotion, and where the line between genuine vulnerability and calculated exhibitionism has become hopelessly blurred.
Fall down.
Yes, and it's honestly...
She's a little old to be falling down. You loved it?
I loved it.
Wow.
Loved it.
You
She didn't
like
get
when
hurt.
people get hurt.
She's fine.
She's dead.
She died?
Yes.
All right. Ding dong. The witch is dead.
She didn't.
No,
Imagine if she did, and I was
if she died from the fall.
about her.
Yeah, we're fucked.
No, she didn't die.
No, she's fine. I just think like
she looks like she got hurt.
It's nice to see billionaires fall.
As traditional religious observance began to decline in America, Oprah Winfrey astutely and powerfully stepped into the resulting spiritual void. She recognized a deep national yearning for meaning, for purpose, and for a sense of connection in an increasingly secular world. And so, she built a new kind of church, the Church of Oprah. This was not a religion of ancient texts and rigid dogma, but a flexible, accessible, and deeply American new spirituality, a gospel built around the sacred self. The central deity in this church was you, and the path to salvation was through self-actualization, mindfulness, and tapping into a vaguely defined but powerfully appealing universal energy.
Yeah.
It was one of the more I want to say disturbing, but it was confusing when that was taking hold with people. When I had friends that were telling me that The Secret is real and that they imagined they were going to fulfill these childhood dreams that they had about whatever, being a fucking astronaut, whatever it would be. There was a couple people that I knew that were trying to tell me that The Secret was going to be the thing and that they had a vision board and they had photographs, they put pictures up of the things that they wanted. Like them in front of large crowds and shit. And I'm like, oh boy.
Them in front of large crowds.
This is so not how it works.
She became the de facto spiritual leader for millions, using her book club and her television platform to introduce her flock to a new pantheon of spiritual gurus. She gave us Eckhart Tolle in his Power of Now, teaching us to live in the present moment. She brought Deepak Chopra into our living rooms, explaining the principles of mind-body healing. She became the high priestess of a brand of spirituality that was perfectly tailored for a consumer culture. It was non-denominational, it was positive, it was focused on personal fulfillment, and it often came with a product to buy: a book, a seminar, a meditation app. While this provided comfort and a sense of purpose to many, it also had a profound and controversial impact. It replaced the often difficult, community-focused, and self-sacrificing tenets of traditional religion with a much easier, more individualistic, and ultimately more narcissistic creed. The ultimate goal was no longer salvation or service to others. It was personal happiness and living your best life.
5 words, Oprah's list of favorite things. So Oprah released her annual list of favorite things, and as usual, there are lots of expensive stuff. $1,000 pizza oven, $590 drip coffee maker, $80 of luxury salt. Sadly, no proposal from Stedman. Kat, do you think she went over this first to make sure it wasn't too extravagant?
You're missing the best one.
What?
Okay, it is a little journal, and it's called I'm Dead, Now What? Important information on my belongings, business affairs, and wishes. Hand this to someone at Christmas, I dare you.
Perhaps one of the most powerful and problematic aspects of Oprah's cultural influence was her unique ability to create other stars, particularly in the realm of health and wellness. With her unparalleled credibility, she could anoint a figure, and they would become an overnight authority with a nationally syndicated television show. This is the legacy of Dr. Phil McGraw and Dr. Mehmet Oz. Dr. Phil, with his folksy, no-nonsense, get-real approach, was presented by Oprah as a brilliant psychological strategist. Dr. Oz, the charismatic heart surgeon, was America's doctor. a trusted guide to our physical health.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
I mean, it's a bunch of rich people talking about rich people.
It's true, the Harris interview did feel like a very special episode of Oprah, but instead of everybody getting a new car, everybody got an aneurysm.
The long-term effect of this was the pathologizing of everyday American life. Dr. Phil turned every family dispute, every personal failing, and every emotional struggle into a diagnosable syndrome that required a confrontational TV therapy session to solve. He made a spectacle out of other people's pain, a practice that many mental health professionals found deeply unethical. Dr. Oz, on the other hand, used his platform to blur the lines between legitimate medical science and questionable alternative treatments. He promoted miracle weight loss supplements and unproven remedies, lending his credentials as a respected surgeon to what many in the medical community considered to be pure quackery. Oprah had used her power to create 2 of the most influential voices in American health, but in doing so, she had helped to create a culture where every human problem was seen as a condition to be diagnosed, and where the authority of real science was placed on equal footing with the charisma of a television doctor.
Bro, you remember the time Oprah had that lady on, its face bit off by the chimp?
Stay there.
And she showed her face on TV?
Oh, yeah.
Miraculously, she survived just the unimaginable. Her name is Charla Nash. Charla almost always covers her face with the hat and scarf. She wears it, she says, because she doesn't want to scare people.
The lady was wearing a veil over her face, like, let's see your face, come on. She pulls the veil away.
Like a Nope?
What are you doing?
Would you mind lifting the veil? Oh, no. So we can see. You could take the hat off. Oh, the hat comes off. Yep. Okay. All right.
Oprah is actually suggesting that I think you're like, listen, what do you say? Like, this made me think of you. Like, you're probably not going to be alive much longer. Merry Christmas. Oprah, if she did go over this,
This fusion of spirituality and questionable science found its ultimate expression in the economic consequences of her brand. Oprah did not just sell ideas, she sold hope. And hope proved to be an incredibly profitable commodity. Her zealous endorsement of The Secret was a turning point. It wasn't just a book recommendation, it was the promotion of a blueprint for monetizing miracles. The law of attraction taught millions of people that their financial situation was a direct result of their thoughts and feelings. If you were poor, it was because you had a poverty consciousness. If you wanted to be rich, you simply had to manifest it. This philosophy was incredibly appealing, but it was also a cruel deception for those facing real, systemic economic challenges.
You got salt, you got cheese, you got pizza.
Barry, I'm going to stop you there.
Yes.
I treat this like the list I get from my kids. They send me emails because they know when I laugh in their face, it hurts. Anyone who wants a $1,000 pizza oven, you're going to get what Kat picked out. Like, that's the greatest gift you can give somebody because you can't return it. Because returning it, you think you're immortal? You think you're better than us? Like, get your affairs in order. That's the great, you stole the show. They wanted me to talk about a dog towel. That is towel's a towel. Great job. That's the best gift ever. And Oprah has never read this, just like I don't read the list from my kids send me.
But beyond the book itself, Oprah's promotion of this magical thinking helped to lay the ideological groundwork for the modern, multi-billion-dollar wellness industry. This is an industry that thrives on selling expensive, often scientifically unproven, solutions to anxious people. From crystal healing and detox teas to expensive supplements and spiritual retreats, the wellness industry is built on the very same principles that Oprah championed, that the power to heal yourself and achieve success lies within, and that there is always a product or a service you can buy to help you unlock it. She took the vague promise of self-help and helped transform it into a massive and often predatory consumer market. She created a marketplace of miracles, and in doing so, helped to birth an industry that has become notorious for preying on the hopes and fears of the desperate.
I looked at this list, and you know what wasn't on there? Anything about Maui. right? At one point in time, she and The Rock made that video to try to help out everybody who was hurt by the fire. And then that was just quickly discarded. She's like, okay, that didn't work. Who wants slippers? You want slippers. You get a pair of slippers. You're all getting slippers.
While Oprah was reshaping America's cultural and spiritual landscape, she was also quietly accumulating an unprecedented level of political power. For years, she remained officially neutral. Her influence felt more as a cultural force than a political one. That all changed in 2008. In a move that stunned the political world, she gave her first ever presidential endorsement to a young, charismatic senator from Illinois named Barack Obama. The Oprah effect was immediate and measurable. Political scientists from the University of Maryland conducted a study and concluded that her endorsement was directly responsible for delivering over 1 million votes to Obama in the Democratic primary, more than enough to provide his margin of victory over Hillary Clinton. It was a stunning demonstration of power. A media figure, through a single act of endorsement, had effectively altered the course of a presidential election.
There was a story I was reading about Oprah, unfortunately, where this woman had terminal cancer.
Right.
And she had stage 3 breast cancer and just decided that through The Secret, she was going to imagine herself a healthy person.
Yeah.
And then, she eventually wound up dying from it because she didn't get treatment.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, she stopped conventional medical treatment.
This political power reached its zenith in 2018, following her thunderous acceptance speech at the Golden Globes during the height of the Not Me Too movement. Her speech was so powerful, so presidential, that it immediately ignited a firestorm of speculation about a potential Oprah 2020 presidential run. For a few weeks, it was the most talked about topic in American politics. While she ultimately declined to run, the moment was significant. It demonstrated that she had achieved a level of public trust and admiration that most politicians can only dream of. She had shown the world that a media figure could not just comment on politics from the sidelines, but could be seen as a viable and powerful political actor in their own right, a true queenmaker in the American political system. This brings us to the present day, and to the great irony of Oprah's legacy. After decades of shaping American culture, that very culture now seems to be turning on her. The modern media landscape, with its unfiltered podcasts, its skeptical YouTubers, and its sarcastic social media commentary, is a world that is deeply suspicious of the very kind of elite, authoritative figures that Oprah represents. And ironically, this is a world that she herself helped to create. The Speak Your Truth mantra that she championed for decades has been adopted by a new generation of critics, like Joe Rogan, who are now using it to speak their truth about her. The idea of challenging authority and questioning everything, a core tenet of her empowerment gospel, is now being used to question her own authority. She built her empire by creating a new kind of intimate, confessional media. But that intimacy is a double-edged sword. She invited the public into her life, shared her struggles, and built a deep parasocial relationship with her audience. Now, that same audience feels empowered to judge her with the same level of intimacy, to critique her lifestyle, to question her motives, and to hold her accountable for her own contradictions. In a profound paradox, Oprah Winfrey, the great creator of our modern media culture, is now being consumed by it. She is a monarch being overthrown by a peasant revolution that is using the very tools and philosophies she gave them. In the final analysis, the legacy of Oprah Winfrey is a vast, complex, and deeply contradictory tapestry. It is impossible to label her as a simple saint or a cynical grifter. She is a far more significant and complicated figure. She is, without a doubt, one of the most important cultural architects of the past half-century. She fundamentally reshaped the American mind, and we are all, in one way or another, living in the world she helped build. It is a world that is, thanks in part to her, more emotionally open, more willing to discuss trauma, and more focused on personal well-being. But it is also a world that is arguably more narcissistic, more susceptible to the alluring promises of pseudoscience, and more likely to view every aspect of human life through the lens of consumerism. She encouraged a nation to search for spiritual meaning, but in doing so, she also fueled a massive and often predatory industry of commercialized hope. She taught us the language of therapy, but also the performance of it. This leads us to a final, profound question. Now that we are all living in the world that Oprah helped to create, a world filled with the language of self-care, authenticity, and personal truth, have we truly found our best selves? Or have we simply become better at marketing them?